Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Ali from CML InfoTech. Today, we're going to talk about switching from Cisco CCNA, Day 7, Part 1. Okay. So, the last session, we just discussed about how to configure the interface. So, we'll start from the scratch. So, we're going to start from the very scratch. So, my name is Muhammad from CML InfoTech. So, as you know, we are about to start switching lab. So we have multiple method of implementing lab. Initially, I recommended you to go for through the tools, which you can do more configuration. And when you start doing configuration, there could be a lot of error while you're typing. That's need to make clear that you need to do practice on every day, every time. Later on, we have a physical, original switch that you can connect and to learn it. So as I said in the very beginning, in switch we have manageable and unmanageable switch. So here you can see this. Okay. So I said before that you have unmanageable switch and manageable switch. We are mainly considered about manageable switch. The major difference between unmanageable and manageable, the unmanageable switch is just a dummy switch. For example, you have multiple devices to connect to make them one network. You just purchase one 8-port or 12-port or 16-port port server. The ports available switch from the local market and connect your edge devices. They will start performing each other, but they will be act as a single network. Only one network you can connect. And you cannot assign any specific demand on the switch, depends on the requirement. Let's, for example, if someone else connected their own product to the specific port number, how the port number needs to behave, whether port needs to be shut down or port needs to be informed to the administrator who manages the switch, what speed that we can define by manually, host name, IP address, or can I manage the switch from remotely? Can I access them? Can I see the bandwidth utilization? Can I see from the switch how many power going to be used for the PoE product? There are a lot of things which we can either we can permit or block or can limit. There are many steps which need to be defined in the switch according to the edge device requirements. That we cannot do in the unmanageable switch. When we're talking about the manageable switch, all our needs are fulfilled by doing the configuration. So in the manageable switch, generally there are layer 2 and layer 3. The layer 2 and layer 3 from the OSI layer. Layer 2 means data link layer, which can perform an act based on MAC address. So any device who takes a decision based on MAC address, which are under layer 2 device. Example of any example of the device who takes MAC address based decision are switch. Therefore, we call it as a switch called switching. And the layer 3 devices, network layer from OSI, which is based on IP. As an example, the router is performed under layer 3, which we call it as a routing. So in the earlier stage, like 6-7 years back, there is a separate models which talking about layer 2 and layer 3. Example, if I mention 2xxx, the 2xxx are called series. Within this series, I have 2950, 2960. So this specific number, we call it as a model of that series, which are under layer 2. And if you're talking about 3xxx, the 3xxx are series within this 3, like 56036503750. These are models, different models. And XXX, which mentioned is a 3000 series within it. The 3560 is one of the model, which are layer 3. The same way we have 4xxx, 5xxx, and the different model. And currently we do have starting from like we call it as a 9xxx. The 9xxx is a series. So in this 9xxx series, we call it as an example 9200, 9300. These are models. Okay. So now, when we're talking about 29, for example, 2960 or 3750 or any series within 3000, when you design your network, generally you need to know you must need one core switch which is able to route your traffic coming from various network, either from example server to workstation, example CCTV recording server to CCTV camera, CCTV camera to recording server, then to the CCTV storage, or from a client to server, or from access point to the access control, Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi server, could be anything, or from the internet outside to your premises. So the core switch is the gateway, entry point to your network. You have a firewall or ISP connected via firewall connected to your core switch. And the core switch will have major like majority product, like for example MDF. Within the MDF there is servers, storage, many things, and you have access switch. This is the minimum design architecture knowledge that you need to have in the current for a time being. Like from the core switch you will be connecting to the access switch. And the access switch is mainly considered for connecting your edge devices. Edge devices would be anything, like for example, laptop, desktop, printer, scanner, camera, access control system, file lamp, it could be anything as act as edge devices. Back in decade, when you're talking about 290 and 375 or anything from 3000 series, your core switch must be under 3xxxx, okay? And your access switch must be 2xxxx, because the access switch, which is 2xxx, will be only for switching. They will not perform routing. And the core switch, which are 3xxx, can perform switching as well as routing. Okay, so old, new. What you need? Core switch. Here also you need core switch. You need access switch. You need access switch. The core switch will be connected to your access switch. Here the core switch will be connected to the access. So there is no difference in normally. So in the old, the core would be 3xxx, example 3750 or 3560. The access would be 2960, which was the common usable switch for, especially in CCTV and other network domain. Now in the new model, these two are absoluted, no more available in the market. Its production has been stopped. So the 3750 or the core switch, they being changed into 9300. Cisco 9300 model would be replaced with the old 3750 acting as a core. and the 2960 is replaced with the 9200, which are commonly for a time. So now it's mainly used for the access switches from Cisco. So 9200 and 9300 from 9000 family. Here 2960 only for switching. This can be switch plus routing. Here 9300 perform switching plus routing. 9200 also can perform switching plus routing. Okay, but as we said, for access switch, we will never perform more routing functions in 9200. This will be act as an access switch and will put the default route to your core, and the core will be performed as a 9300. This is the common design currently, and there are a lot of other models available in the market. Example, 4000XX, 5000, 6000, 7000, 9000 asset, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 series of different series model switches available in the market. So you can put any switch as your core and any switch as your access, which need to be fulfill the requirements. Okay, if a company like a big company, they will go for a higher end model like 6,000, 7,000 called as core switch. Or there is another core switch which is commonly used for 9500, especially for data center or the big network architecture. They're going to use 9500. So it's going to core switch, and the access switch even they can use as a 4000 access, which is a big chases. Okay, so coming back to the point, when you define and design, there is a layer 2 and a layer 3. Okay, if you have a single switch, example, you purchased a single switch which is 24 ports. Okay, and you have edge devices maximum like a 15 only, then you do not need a separate access, only you do not need a separate core, because your network architecture is very small, only 15 end product to be connected. So you can connect all into 15 into the same switch, and you can consider this is as a core and this is as an access. Okay, so coming back to the design. Okay, here I've put a 3560 switch, 24 ports, multi-layer switch, which means MLS, multi-layer switch, which can act as a layer 2, which is switching, as well as layer 3, which is routing. Okay, now I'm connecting two systems into the switch. So the 3, let's say 4 switches, and connecting to this network. Okay, so you need to have a cable to that. Let's say it's thread cable. F0. You can connect any of the port. I have 24 ports, so I'm going to connect the first port, second port, third port, and fourth port. I need to have IP to the system. So think I have a single network. Okay, so here my network is this is on a single network. Here my network is, let's say, 10.0.0.0/8 is my network, and this system IP 10.0.0.1/8, and this is 2. The way I have until 4. This is 3, and this is 4. Okay. Now I need to assign IP to the system. Example PC0. Let's start. 10.0.0.1. Okay, here that's static IP 10.0.0.1 /8, so 255.0.0.0. So I assign the first system IP and second system 10.0.0.2. Okay. Now I'm going to command prompt IP config. You can see this system IP is 10.0.0.2. I'm trying to ping 10.0.0.1. Yes. So my two systems are communicating each other. Now let me assign to PC3. Desktop IP 3. See, if I'm trying to give a 10.0.0.2, it says already you have the IP address. So I'm going to give 3. Fine. Now I'm trying to ping 10.0.0.1 and 2. So all systems are in my network, which is single network. Okay. So this is what I said. When you have more computers, more edge devices, which you wanted to connect and work in a single switch, you do not need to touch a switch any configuration, because a switch can act as a single network always, either managed switch or unmanaged switch. Okay, so you just connected all your edge devices to the switch and just give a system IP, system of whichever the edge device, you can give an IP, they can communicate each other. Now, as I said, in the manageable switch, there are some elements which talking about you need a different network, different services, like few computers, few laptops, few phones, few access points, something in a different that you need to connect it in a single switch. If you don't have a managed switch, then for each network, you need to consider a different switch. Like for example, irrespective of numbers, example, if I have a 10 computers to be one single network, I need to connect 10 systems into a single switch. Then for the other services, I need another switches. By going through manageable switch, you can connect all your different services into the same switch, and you can make a segregation difference within the switch. So by going towards to that, let me introduce the basic configuration before reaching to make them network. Example, in reality, I can show you on upcoming sessions. You need to have a console cable to connect it to the, the console cable, either to the standard cable, or there is a specific cable for each vendor which can get it along with the switch, that you need to connect to your system by using PuTTY software, which is the common open standard software, where you can configure your, this is the PuTTY software, you can see, and here it will tell you how do you want to connect. If the fresh switch which you connecting via console cable, then you'll put serial. Then this the default number. Is there any number to be changed along with the switch? In the manual, they define what number to be assigned. Then the COM port, when you connect it to your system, you're gonna get the COM port like from 1, 2, 3. When you open, you will get to the switch console, or the switch is already configured. You wanted to take them by remote to check it. Either you can go for telnet or SSH. We'll talk about this later. Okay, so this is one of the way for accessing the switch from the reality. Now here we have a tool which we can just click it. Example 3560, just double click. You will get a window like this. Here you can go to click CLI. There, if you just click, they're gonna ask you Would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? If you put yes, the switch by itself will ask you the question and you need to answer it. If you put no, it will be directly goes to user mode. From there, you can put whatever the command you would like to. Example, if I put yes, they will ask you, what is a basic management setup? I don't need any basic management setup. The next question, would you like to, there will be each single questions that you need to define it. Some of the questions may not be useful in the very beginning. Therefore, we can skip everything, just giving Control C. If you just click Control C, it will go enter to start. Okay, so this is what we discussed on the last session, and this mode we call it as user mode. User mode. Here you need to put an EN, enable, enter. This is called privilege mode. From the privilege mode, you majorly looking about the show commands. So example, show, I said one command, show RUN tab key. Tab key will help us to see what is the further commands. So show running config or show run. The show run will help us to see what is the current configuration available in the switch, which is in the RAM. Here you can see the host name by default is called switch. Then you have an interface starting from 1, which is called fast Ethernet. Fast Ethernet means 100 Mbps. You have 24 ports. Then you have a 2 giga port. So the giga port is for uplink. Then that's it. Or you can put the show VER version to see the current version of the OS. So here you can see, after you put show version command, you can see which model it is. What is the version of the OS content here? The current version is called 15x or above. It's a little bit old OS. Then here you can also see how many ports that you have: 24 fast Ethernet, 2 giga Ethernet, and the processor. All the basic needed information, like for example, model number of the switch. Then you can also see the serial number, system serial number of the switch. Okay, the few information that you can get it from the switch basics. Okay, then there's another command called config T, configuration mode, where you can do all your configuration. Then I set IP to the host name to the switch. You just need to put HO, then what name that you need. Example, we're gonna say for every configuration, by giving host name or description and all, there is a syntax from the customer manufacturing side. Example, here I would say, let's example, I'm putting the CML, name of the company, core, which acting as a core, then SW1. So core switch 1 from CML company. Or you can put anything, whatever that you need. Okay, now the host name is being changed. Then either you need to go back to exit to see the show run, or you can give by command do show run. The help of the do command, you do not need to go back to the user mode or the privilege mode to type the command. So you just need to type do show run. Here you can see the host name is being changed, which is in the RAM. You need to save it. After you save, your command can available, or your configuration can be available from startup configure, the short command called do show start. Because we have not saved anything, so there are many commands to save. The simple command is called do write, or write to memory, or we're gonna do just do WR. Now saved. We can look about from the do show run. Now do show start, we can see the configure command. Okay, then these are the few commands that we tested on that, and just put exit. So then you put the question mark. If you wanted to know more about that specific command, you just put the question mark. You can see many commands here. I recommended you to put majority command and to see what you can be able to see with that command. Example, let's say show clock. If you click show clock, you can see the time. This default time, the time we need to change it. Okay, we will talk about the time later. Either time will be given by statically or through NTP protocol, network time protocol, to sync with the NTP server. Either global NTP server, or within our company, we must have one NTP server to sync the time with everyone, every network products. Okay. So now we'll go back to talk about VLAN, virtual LAN. Hope majority you guys heard about the VLAN concept. So let me tell you what is the benefit of the VLAN and what do you need, why do you need for the VLAN concept. Okay, so the question, let's say manageable switch, VLAN, virtual LAN. So here, if you look into this, you have three networks: network 1, network 2, network 3. Or you can consider network 1, for example, data for connecting your systems, network 2 for your telephones, and network 3 for your example access points or access control system. Based on your required services, you need a separate switch in order to segregate them. Otherwise, if you connect all your network into a single network, there will be a big collapse can occur. So based on your services, your requirement, you need to make them individual. As an example, you have a switch here. So we will talk this in the part 2 because it's a quite lengthy theory. So hope you understand the session which we explained now, just the basic logging to the switch and assigning to weave the show commands in the switch basics. I hope you understand the session. So kindly log into the part 2 session today itself, inshallah. Thank you so much.